We as students of this university are fully free to stand here.
Way more of a right to do what we're doing than any of these people have to destroy this building.
You think these people have any clue what they are actually chanting? Just heard them say from river to the sea or whatever, sea to the river. You understand, that goes way beyond the realm of a peaceful protest. Right after these folks broke in, they realized that they forgot to bring lunch. So what did they do?
Why should the university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately, in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries, we want to take over this building. Now would you please bring us food and water?
Nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
They're stopping the delivery of food?
We are looking for a commitment from them that they will not stop it
but
violently.
They haven't stopped it yet.
Well, I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
And the Grubhub.
She's just looking for basic humanitarian aid. You know, like what countries who are at war receive? Is that her saying that they are actually at war right now? This is their act of war? I just got to reiterate what the reporter said there because it's so funny and it's in quotes there above the video. But it seems like you're saying we want to be revolutionaries. We want to take over this building. Now would you please bring us some food? And that is exactly what they're saying. And she denies it and says, no. We just don't want you guys to violently prevent us from bringing food in, which means basically stand in the way. If they want to really clear this place out, they could do it in about 5 minutes if they just turn the Wi-Fi off. You don't even have to worry about bringing them food. They can go out and get their own food once they realize that they have no connection to information. I see a community notes here. Let's go ahead and check that. Readers added context that they thought people might want to know. Her claims are misleading. 1. Per Columbia, campus dining is open. John Jay Dining Hall, Fact Shack, JJ's Place. Okay, and 2, humanitarian aid is for saving lives in the most dire situations. Violent conflict and natural disasters. That's just pretty much what I said. I didn't include natural disasters, but yeah, that makes sense. Whenever Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans back in the day, they were in dire need of humanitarian aid. So I get it. And they noted here that the students can leave anytime they want. Nobody's keeping them inside of this building that they forced their way into. This is just what the mainstream media calls a protest nowadays. People that know better certainly would call this a riot because ultimately these folks forced their way past security and are now occupying a space. Not only that, it's on a state-funded campus. And these riots, which I see is basically just an extension of what we saw in the Summer of Love, the BLM riots that led to the destruction of towns, burning of buildings, and then, of course, when they set the church across the street from the White House on fire and forced President Trump to go into the bunker underneath the White House, essentially as it was under attack. All of these seem to be much more mild than what we saw on January 6th, which was labeled an insurrection by the same mainstream media, who take their cues from the Democrats in Washington, or worse, who knows, right? If there is such a thing. I'm not saying everybody on January 6th was peacefully protesting. There were people that fought with cops. There were people that destroyed property. And those people should be and were absolutely held accountable, unlike what these students are facing, right? Their worst case scenario for them, they might get expelled, but that still remains to be seen. And so I got this one from Daily Mail, just read real quick. Furious, shocked footage shows inside the trashed Columbia University hall that was occupied by pro-Palestine protesters after riot cops raided it in huge encampment, arresting 100. College begs police to stay on campus for the next 3 weeks until the end of term. Columbia University protesters smashed windows, upended furniture, and caused damage throughout Hamilton Hall during the occupation before police stormed the campus and arrested more than 100 protesters Tuesday night. And you'll notice there that in that one sentence, these people who trashed their university and smashed windows, amongst other things, are labeled protesters twice. And again here, around 40 protesters were arrested on the first floor of the building after police swooped just after ending the pro-Palestine encampment that stretched on for nearly 2 weeks and included students taking over the hall. It was just getting worse and worse. And that's probably why the university finally called the police to come in and remove them, because it didn't seem like they had any end in sight. Like I just showed you, people were occupying the building and had no plan, had no demands. And so it's just going to get worse. They're only going to infiltrate, move further into the campus, and destroy more things. And eventually somebody's going to get hurt or worse, killed. And we've already seen some reports of Jewish people being injured and hospitalized from these protests around the country. Pictures and videos taken of the aftermath shows the hall's trashed interior strewn with activists' belongings. Columbia's president called the NYPD in to restore order and safety to the campus amid the escalating protests, which also included a massive encampment on the school's lawn. You'll notice they're all in these same green tents, which I just find curious because there's reports that I've seen on X that these same green tents are at multiple different cities, multiple different states, and you just got to kind of wonder, who sent those? Where did they come from? Why are they all the same? You know what I mean? But the raid saw demonstrators arrested across the campus and at nearby City College, New York, where similar protests unfolded. See some pictures here of overturned tables, things that can be set upright, but there's shoes, there's clothes, there's bags, there's a ladder, there's a chain, things that can be set back upright, not necessarily destroyed. There's a couple broken things in there potentially. Let's move on. There's some broken windows. Again, just a bunch of stuff just left behind, it looks like. I don't know why people wouldn't take their things with them. Don't people value? I don't know, maybe if you just get everything for free, it's easy come, easy go. But to me, I got to make things last. I still got a pair of shorts I had in high school, and I turned 43 here in a week or two. I mean, seriously. Like, you got to make things last in this world. Everything's way too expensive. More cops going in. Lots of police. Lots and lots of police. So they spared no expense when it came to that. So police stormed Hamilton Hall through an upstairs window after students used furniture to barricade the entrance on the first floor. Pictures show how chairs and desks had been turned upside down to become makeshift barriers. The cost of damage to the building is likely to total thousands of dollars, which these people should be held responsible to repay. The occupation followed weeks of unrest at Columbia, which began with the establishment of an encampment on April 17th. Going back, maybe they should just kick those kids out of school and keep their tuition. That'll pay back the thousands of dollars in damage. They repeatedly ignored calls to disband, with the demonstrations ramping up early Tuesday with a violent takeover of Hamilton Hall. After 2 weeks of chaos, which saw classes moved online and facilities shuttered, Shafik finally called in the police, who managed to clear out the campus in just 2 hours. University administrators have now asked the police to maintain a presence until May 17th, 2 days after graduation. Then we have some more pictures here of the damage. Thankfully, it looks like they chose to not destroy that beautiful stained glass window there. And then just more pictures of police. So the NYPD announced that it had cleared the building just with no injuries. Hours earlier, video showed cops sporting riot gear descending on the campus armed with zip tie handcuffs and pepper spray. Until Tuesday, Shafik had held off asking police to intervene following backlash to the decision to use law enforcement to disperse a previous encampment. However, the decision to call the NYPD was taken after increasingly violent tactics and concerns that protests had been infiltrated by outside agitators with no ties to the university. And that's something that I was wondering about too. How many of these people are actually students? And how many of these people are infiltrators that are just trying to stir up stuff and potentially cause harm to individuals or the university? You just never know when people have access and there's no security, what could be done in that building, you know what I mean? And so in a statement, the university said the decision to call police was made to restore safety and order to our campus. We regret that protesters have chosen to escalate the situation through their actions. The statement read, after the university learned overnight that Hamilton Hall had been occupied, vandalized, and blockaded, we were left with no choice. Columbia Public Safety personnel were forced out of the building, and a member of our facilities team was threatened. We will not risk the safety of our community or the potential of further escalation. Those occupying Hamilton Hall could be charged with trespass and burglary, while those in the encampment could be hit with trespassing and disorderly conduct. Some more pictures of windows and police. And the police really showed up in big numbers, it looks like. And they certainly had to, because they just don't know what type of resistance that they're going to face. Protesters have been demanding the college divest from companies with links to Israel or firms profiting from its war on Hamas. You know, I'm not sure how a university would have a link to a company in Israel. That seems just kind of like a nonsense demand. Maybe they do. I don't know. And so there you have it. The occupation at Columbia University seems to have been put to an end, but it appears that they might have moved this encampment. These people are still around to a nearby location. I guess those that didn't get arrested, or maybe the ones that got arrested were already released. You know how New York does. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.